When I was researching the pain points of creatives, artists, makers, writers, anyone doing creative activities, the biggest hurdle was getting things done, finding the time to get things done. But the solution isn't calendars or productivity hacks. It's really quite simple. And I will explain the 3 M's of creativity: motivation, modification, and manifestation. To begin, we have to be motivated to get started. You might have an idea to write a novel, but getting started can be really, really challenging. How do you motivate yourself? There are a few simple tricks. One is to find an accountability partner who will receive your notifications about progress. This person is not a critic, but they are somebody who is interested in you and what you're doing. And all they have to do is agree to receive your report. I suggest that you choose a workable schedule for both you and them. And once you have that in place, you'll find a little shoulder angel who supports you and encourages you to get started. The motivation. Motivation is also very important later on in a project, not just the beginning. When I am tackling a sewing project, a lot of times it's really easy to choose the fabric and the pattern, maybe even to lay it all out, cut it out with my scissors, and then what? Unfortunately, the fun part of sewing projects is often the planning phase. It can take quite a long time to record everything, stitch it together, make sure that the fit is proper, and the inevitable mistakes. Being motivated to persevere even when you mess up. And I used to mess up a lot. In fact, when I started sewing for other people, I would work in the factor that any given project I would actually have to do 2 or 3 times. When I got a little bit better, then that became part of my profit margin. Motivation to get started and to keep going. Then the second M is modification. Rarely is a first draft in a good enough condition to be published. I'm not sure even the most gifted authors are able to write and publish without taking the time for refinement, edits, revision. Writers aren't the only ones who have to put in the time to modify their work. Painters, fiber artists, carpenters. The modification could take the form of the sanding, the finishing, adding a coat or 10 of varnish, attaching the knobs and the hinges. My husband loves to do woodworking projects, but he does not enjoy the finishing part. That's why a lot of companies will have teams that take care of that. Think of Henry Ford and his assembly lines. Each person in the chain of command develops their own specialty and expertise. I'm assuming that most of you watching this video are solo shows. You have to take care of everything. And that everything doesn't just involve the fun part of the art making. It also might entail marketing, promotion, bookkeeping, doing the math, meeting with the public. I met a wonderful jeweler at King Richard's Fair in Carver, Massachusetts last fall. She is so talented with her designs, but she is also very gifted at communication, staying in touch with her buyers. One sale could multiply into a dozen or more because she just makes you feel like you're part of her family and the people who wear the type of jewelry that she creates. I'll include a link to her studio in the show notes today. So we have the motivation to get started and to keep going, modification to edit, revise, refine, and then finally we have manifestation. Manifestation is the point where you release your art product to the world. This one element, I think, looms over all the other elements. And why? Because this is the point where the art product must be finished. You got to think about shipping it. And shipping, you cannot send out a half-finished sweater. Imagine somebody who has placed an order for your beautiful crochet work and you put it in the box with the hook and yarn still waiting to be finished. That just won't fly. When I talked about motivation and finding an accountability partner, there are a couple tricks for manifestation that can also serve to keep you going and to finish. One is really very fun, especially if you're just getting started, you're learning your craft, and you're trying to stay motivated to learn the craft well enough that one day it may be something you can sell. And even if it isn't, if you enjoy it for your own pure pleasure, that is a beautiful, beautiful goal as well. For this step, think of somebody that you could gift your product to. Just give them a present. Now, it isn't a matter of simply surprising them. No. I want you to be more intentional than that. Maybe it's for their birthday, a graduation. I think the best gifts are the unexpected ones. Maybe it's a gift to your partner, your coworker, or your fellow traveler on this creative path. Decide what you are going to give them, something fairly small that you could start and finish in no more than 3 weeks. Then, I want you to create a beautiful card to send to this person. Yes, I'm telling you, actually print it, draw it, put it in an envelope, put on a stamp and their address, and put it in the mail. This card will be your invitation to meet with that person so that you can gift them your finished product. Now, I'm thinking of small things, but when I did this, one time when I did it, it was for a friend who is a talented musician, a clarinetist. She's also a wonderfully gifted potter, and she opened a studio and a store where clay works could be sold, and downstairs she would be able to teach lessons. She had her grand opening. Therefore, I had a target date. And believe me, I like to work with due dates, so having that specific date definitely motivated me to get going and keep going. I had taken snapshots and screenshots of many of her pots, vases, plates, what have you. And I arranged those in a kind of canvas that I sent off to a fabric printer, Spoonflower in particular. Hey, people at Spoonflower, you are awesome. And I made the fabric into a top. Nothing fancy. Didn't take me more than 2 hours to stitch it up. About the same to design the fabric. I had the specific date. I didn't have to send her a card because I knew where she would be and I knew she wasn't going to back out of it. When I arrived at her grand opening of her store called ESP Pottery, I handed her my package, and you should wrap up your product, your present too. And when she opened it, I can just tell you, she was thrilled. She recognized all the pieces. I had her logo dispersed in it too, but not in a real showy way, just tasteful. She immediately stepped into her office so she could put it on, and she wore that the rest of the evening. I was motivated to put it together. I had to modify to a certain extent to make sure that it was going to work, and I manifested that finished product, which was a gift. If I was going to do a piece of writing, I might write a poem or an essay, maybe just a single sheet of paper. If it was a poem, maybe I would print it and frame it and wrap it up. Then in my invitation to my friend, I would say, I have a special present. I can't wait to meet with you at ABC Coffee Shop on this date at this time. Please let me know if you're available. Love and admiration, or whatever you want to sign it. We should all send out more love to the world. That single step, nothing too big, will light a fire. The other option will take a little bit more time to talk about, but there is a chapter in my book on that. I like to think of motivation as the foundational layer in a pyramid. Modification right on top of that, slightly more condensed, hopefully, don't spend too much time on revision and edit because you want to quickly move up to manifestation. Release it to the world. Let that novel live. So, a pain point that many creatives, artists, and makers face isn't about productivity, calendars. It's really simply about the 3 M's: motivation, modification, and manifestation. If you want a checklist and a couple free resources, please drop a comment below. Just say, "Send me the resources, please, Dr. B." I don't have this mechanized yet, automated. I'm working on it. But if you're willing enough to be patient, within 24 hours, if you send me your email, I will make sure it gets to your inbox. Oh yeah, to make it easier, just send me an email, bstockwell@doyourart.org. Visit my website. You can also contact me through there. All right, the 3 M's of creativity: motivation, modification, manifestation. And I think that's the sign for it. A biento!